Homecoming weekend had arrived, brimming with excitement and enthusiasm, especially because it marked our senior year. The season echoed our passion as trees started to shift their colors, and homes adorned themselves with Halloween decorations. With the school year well underway, I was eager to show my support and cheer on our team. The anticipation leading up to the homecoming, with all the efforts put into promoting it, hosting prep rallies, and fostering enthusiasm, makes you feel fully prepared for the main event. The night was bustling with activity as cars streamed into the venue. The attendees settled into their seats. The aroma of freshly popped popcorn wafted through the air, originating from the nearby concession stand. Once our squad had completed a dance routine and the crowd's focus returned to the players, I grabbed a sip of water and glanced toward the visitor bleachers on the opposite side of the field. As my eyes scanned the area, I spotted a tall man dressed in all black, seemingly fixated on me. The shadows cast by the overhead lights obscured any details of his face, concealed by the hood of his sweatshirt. He lifted his hand slowly and offered a subtle wave, to which I responded by lowering my gaze, as though I hadn't acknowledged it. Moments later, we lined up for a brief cheer in front of the audience, during which I turned away from the man. Without being too obvious, I maintained a watchful eye across the field for that man. The only prevalent sights and sounds were the continuous cheers, a testament to our football team's outstanding performance that evening. As halftime neared and we readied ourselves for the most substantial routine, we gathered on the field to prepare. However, as we commenced our performance and I glanced at the home audience, I noticed the same hooded man once more, positioned by the fence above. He stood there, gazing directly in my direction, gripping the fence in front of him. Once again, he extended a wave as our eyes met. I made a minor mistake in my routine as this unfolded. Slightly embarrassed, but realizing no one probably noticed, I quickly turned my gaze back to the crowd, put on my smile, and successfully completed our routine. The rest of the game went without any disturbances. No sightings of the ominous man, just the cheers and celebrations of our homecoming victory. That evening, as I wrapped up my shower and settled in for some bedtime reading, I noticed a notification on my phone. I reached for it, anticipating a message from one of my friends. However, the message read, "You're my favorite cheerleader," accompanied by a smiling emoji. I paused, holding my phone, unsure how to respond. Eventually, I decided to reply with, "LOL, who is this?" Moments later, a picture arrived, capturing me in action at the game, followed by another smiley face. Without a chance to respond, he sent another photo, this time capturing my bedroom window. I dashed to the window, flinging open the curtains, and there, in my neighbor's yard across the street, stood the tall hooded man. He raised his hand in a greeting, and my heart raced. I called out for my dad, and within seconds, he rushed to my room, asking about the commotion. I urgently pointed towards the window, where the man was retreating into the shadows as my dad approached. Just as he looked outside, the man disappeared into the impenetrable darkness of the night. Just a moment later, I opened up to my dad about the unsettling experience and showed him the messages I had received. He decided to call the police, but their response was rather limited. They sent an officer to patrol the vicinity briefly and suggested that we should reach out if the situation escalated further. The police explained that this time of year often sees an increase in pranks with homecoming and strongly believe that this was one of them. Despite my family's frustration, I made an effort to put the incident behind me and focus on getting some rest. The following day, as I texted my friend Stacy in anticipation of our homecoming dance, she informed me that she was running late and had to alter our plans. She suggested meeting outside the school with our other close friends. This left me somewhat in the dark, as my other two close friends had been unresponsive to my messages throughout the day. This was particularly concerning since Jake, one of them, was the guy I had planned as a date for the night. My father dropped me off at the school, and I made my way towards the entrance, irritated that my date didn't pick me up. Just as I was about to enter, I received another message from Stacy, suggesting that we do a bit of pre-gaming with our dates near the athletic fields, at a different entrance. My frustration was mounting, but I responded, assuring her that I would be there shortly. As I walked along the dimly lit curve of the school's unlit side, a chilly breeze enveloped me. The night was rather cool, and I was eager to get indoors, especially since I was only wearing a dress. Upon nearing the door that Stacy had mentioned, I observed an absence of anyone in the vicinity. It was eerily quiet, with everyone gathered on the opposite side of the building. "Stacy?" I called out, and almost immediately, a message. It was a picture sent by Stacy, capturing me walking around the school. I replied, "Yes, I'm back here. Where are you? I'm getting really cold." What felt like a long moment seemed to drag on as I sat there, shivering and growing impatient. Eventually, I began to walk back to the other side. Just a short while later, I slowed my pace, taken aback by another message. This time, it was yet again from Stacy, but it simply read, "You're my favorite cheerleader," accompanied by that same simple smile emoji. In that instant, I became aware of someone sprinting in my direction. It was dark, but under the moonlit sky, I could discern the hooded man closing in on me. I stood there, utterly astonished for a moment, but as he drew near, I swiftly broke into a run. I screamed as loudly as I could, desperately seeking help from anyone nearby, while he continued to gain on me. I prayed that the music from the dance wouldn't drown out my cries. Without warning, I was brought down onto the soft grass of the field, with the man striving to immobilize me. As we grappled on the ground, I employed every means at my disposal to resist. I persistently tried to scratch at his face, capitalizing on opportunities when he struggled to control my arms. During those fleeting moments, I clawed at his eyes and his throat, while also kicking and letting out frantic screams. Despite his imposing size, it was apparent that he hadn't anticipated the encounter as thoroughly as I would have imagined. Eventually, he managed to overpower me, muffling my screams by covering my mouth with his hand. He sternly instructed me to shut up, but I persisted in my efforts to break free, though without any success. Then, as if by some stroke of luck, a few fellow classmates began to grow suspicious and approached our location. Dressed in their elegant homecoming attire, they were easily distinguishable. While still restraining me, the man shifted his gaze towards them. "What's going on over there?" one of them inquired as they hastened their steps in our direction. Within a split second, the man released his grip, quickly rose to his feet, and took off in a sprint. In a burst of adrenaline, I tried to hinder his getaway as I spotted 4 boys heading in my direction. Nonetheless, he managed to accelerate away from the scene. 2 of the boys halted to provide assistance, while the other 2 had chased the man. Regrettably, he managed to escape that moment. The boys offered their support, guiding me back to the front of the school and helping me seek assistance. Along the way, we encountered the security personnel, who promptly initiated a search of the area. Coincidentally, Stacy arrived at that very moment and hurried to my side upon seeing my distress. It was then that I realized that the man had somehow gained access to my phone and altered the contact numbers. The police were alerted once more, and that night, they made concerted efforts to track him down. Surprisingly, though, he ended up turning himself in. It was revealed that he was a fellow classmate of mine, but someone I never associated with. He occupied a seat a couple rows behind me in one of my classes. His parents compelled him to confess after they noticed the telltale claw and cut marks covering his face and neck. He faced immediate expulsion and was forbidden from setting foot on the campus ever again. His claim was that he had never intended any genuine harm and had simply acted impulsively during the homecoming festivities. Fortunately, no one bought into that excuse, and I was able to seek justice. I was determined not to let the situation dictate my life, So I continued my cheerleading journey through college, and to my fortune, without any creepy and dangerous encounters by harmful forces.